Hello everybody. I wanted to go out for a ride today. The sun's out. I haven't seen the sun in a long time because it's been really bad weather here in the city, and I think I wanted to address something I mentioned in my intro video, was my personal experience about what it's like to learn to ride, specifically in New York. And I think the first thing I have to say about it is it's no different to learning how to ride anywhere else. I think the process of learning how to ride is the same even if you lived in the middle of nowhere. You're gonna need to know how to negotiate and operate your motorcycle, how to work with the clutch and change the gears, and you'll need to understand some of the physics of taking turns. Very helpful to kind of learn about the physics a little bit, to better your riding and help you with your own kind of like risk assessment, right? But there really isn't anything unique to riding in New York. It's just like anywhere else. I learned how to ride on dead-end blocks that didn't have any traffic on them usually, and all the lights and the stop signs, doing them over and over, really kind of helped me figure out how not to stall the bike in the most basic way when I was starting from zero. The other thing is that just like anywhere else, when you get on a motorcycle, especially as a new rider, I think it's important to get on it and commit to riding the bike with confidence. If you're not comfortable riding the bike, like you're so afraid of it that it's ruining your concentration on actually operating it, you're probably not really ready to ride it out on the streets, and a parking lot might be a better location for you. The point is when you get on a motorcycle, you really got to commit to riding it like your life depended on it, because it really does. It really does. I chose a Street Triple 765 as my first bike because I didn't want to outgrow it in the next couple of years, and my own personal risk assessment, me being slightly older, having a lot of time riding mountain bikes and doing dumb shit on those things in my youth, I think really factored into my decision to not get like a 300 or 400cc bike as my first thing. The bike has riding modes, and I use them. I put it in rain mode for the first month or two of riding it, so I wouldn't get like whiskey throttle or something like that. And I wanted a modern bike that had ABS and traction control. That was non-negotiable for me. The other thing is that the bike was available. My buddy let me ride it. This was the first bike I rode after I rode a Honda Rebel 300 at the MSF. This is the second bike I rode in my entire riding career, and I immediately fell in love with it. And since it was potentially for sale, we made a deal, and I picked it up. I think risk assessment trumps location for when you're learning to ride. Knowing how to kind of assess your skills independently of outside observance is a skill in and of itself. And my experience riding bikes for a very long time, mountain bikes I mean, down sketchy trails, off jumps, off drops, whatever, and also falling a lot and breaking bones and kind of ruining my summer for 2 months twice in a row, you know, I started to become a little bit more risk averse. I was also riding a lot in the city. You're not supposed to ride bicycles on the sidewalk, which is why you see a lot of bikes on the street and in bike lanes. Negotiating up the same traffic that I do now on this thing, you know, also helped build my confidence and also my experience in observing traffic, trying to understand and what people are about to do in their cars, what pedestrians might be doing as they're crossing intersections, to better my ability to kind of strategize the situation ahead of me. Is riding in New York different to other places? I think there's a myth about New York City that it's scary. Like, you'll hear a lot of people like, I don't want to drive in Manhattan because I'm afraid of driving in Manhattan. I think it's all bullshit. There's nothing different to driving or riding in Manhattan than there is here in Brooklyn. And the myth of avoid yellow cabs and all sorts of other kind of taxi situations in New York. It might have been true 10 years ago. These days it's more so like you got to avoid electric bicycles and like mopeds, especially the illegal ones that don't have any registration and ride like crazy people. Excuse me. I think aside from that, there's nothing really wrong with learning how to ride here. You got to ride your own ride, and part of that is, again, good understanding of risk assessment and really knowing your limits, and then pushing your riding boundaries gradually and not just jumping into the deep end. As silly and cliche as that sounds, that's all you really need to do. Just don't dive into the deep end on these things, because you're gonna get hurt, you know. The unique aspects of riding in New York is, I think, you're riding in New York. Look at it, it's freaking cool. It's a new building, and there are a lot of benefits. I'm a huge proponent of mass transit. I don't commute on this motorcycle. I just take the subway to get to work. And you know, you can get anywhere really fast on a motorcycle. There's a moped behind me. I see he was trying to pass me on the right in the bike lane. And you know, I think it's just fun. It's fun to have some type of mobility here outside of just a car. It's easier to park the bike, but we'll kind of get into that a little bit, because it's perhaps more expensive than parking cars here. But there's really not much to the uniqueness of riding in a city versus other cities, other than there's a lot of shit happening on the street in New York. It's a very dense city compared to other American cities, and you just got to watch out for specific dangers. The two close calls I had in New York was both involving an electric bicyclist delivering food, and the second one was a dude riding like an illegal moped or something that tried to pass me on the left, even though there was basically no room even for a bicycle to pass. And I almost went into him. I had to stop and almost dropped the bike. It was not pleasant at all. The last point I'm going to say about unique things to riding in New York is cost of ownership. The cost of the bike is one thing, but the cost of insuring it and parking it is where you're really going to suffer. Insurance for this bike, full coverage, I think they were looking for close to $3,000 a year, which is bonkers. But considering I never owned a vehicle before in my entire life, also unique to residents of New York City, especially lifelong ones like me, and me being a new rider, and this bike being a highly thievable item, probably contributes to that cost. The parking costs in New York, because you do not want to park your bike on a street unless it's an absolute beater, is another thing you need to think about. Garage prices in Brooklyn can be anywhere between $200 and $300 a month. In Manhattan, you're looking between $3,000 and $1,000 a month, I think, especially considering you know, where you're residing and how close you want to be to your motorcycle. The other item to consider, I started riding in the winter. Like I've only rode in the winter so far. I haven't seen a day on this motorcycle that was above 60 degrees in my entire riding career. And Northeast winters can be pretty brutal. We've had a semi-mild one this year, though there were a couple of days that, you know, it was like 15 degrees outside and you literally don't want to do nothing. You just want to eat chili all day. But I had to buy more expensive gear simply because I didn't want to freeze to death on the bike. There's an illegal moped right there. No plate, no helmet, no nothing. This guy's kitted out. You see he's going down the bike lane, doesn't give a shit. Someone can dart out, he'll hit them and then he'll run away. But yeah, I had to buy a lot of extra gear that you would typically buy after you've done your summer season and wanted to continue. And I also noticed that there's like a couple, there's a decent portion of riders that simply don't ride in cold weather. They put their bike on the tender, and then when they're ready to take it out 4 months or 6 months later, they smell the gas and hope that it turns on. I, on the other hand, don't need a tender because I ride this thing basically every week, and sometimes multiple times a week, because it's fun. It's really, really fun. So yeah, I think looking forward, I'm going to do some long-term or long road trips, and hopefully put some decent amount of miles on the bike. The other item is I'm looking forward to, you know, riding with less heavy gear, and just being a little bit more free on the bike. Always wear all the gear all the time. That's my policy for myself, but I can wear slightly lighter gear. Slightly lighter gear would be very, very helpful. And then, you know, I hope to record more videos and do some upstate riding, which I don't currently feel like I want to do because of the weather. So it's usually been a lot of like hops, short hops here and there, rides like this, or, you know, ride to the butcher shop to pick up some steaks and what have you. But hopefully you guys can keep watching. If you guys have any questions or wanna know something specific to the city, myself, or I guess this motorcycle, just let me know and I'll be happy to answer them in another video. All right, bye.